All right, great to have you with us here exclusively on this here UFC Fight Pass. John Anik alongside former three-time UFC title challenger Kenny Florian. It is Anik and Florian Rewind. Now, you are the much more fashion-forward member of this podcast duo, but like some of you guys will wear hats that look like you've been fucking sitting on it for an hour before the show, and that's like the way it's supposed to look or be because you guys are like fashion-forward. So I'm sitting here in my like flex fit hats. They're all crispy. Like, is that fashion forward or a stylistic decision for you to sit on your hat before the show?
I don't deserve this, John, okay? I don't deserve this. Now, listen, it's just like my hipster style hat. And it does. It kind of looks like I sat on it. It's been in the back of my car. I kind of went to reach for it. I'm like, oh, I'll put this thing on. It's all trashed up. But
all right.
Yeah, that's kind of, but that clean hat look is still valid. That's still
okay.
Like right. This is kind of like this is a little unacceptable, actually. Like the bill's kind of bent up. I don't know what's going on.
It's all right. I mean, they're here for the content. They're not necessarily here for the aesthetic. I do like your Oxblood Anik and Florian podcast t-shirt, by the way, which you can buy, I think, at johnanik.com, maybe even kennyflorianmartialarts.com in the not too distant future. But yeah, johnanik.com, promo code UFC 302 for 20% off of that Anik and Florian podcast t-shirt Ken Flo's wearing.
100%. This is the Oxblood, dude. I love this. Our classic logo. And what about you? You finally put an American flag on a one more sleeve t-shirt, dude? It's about time. I mean, come on, dude.
It is crazy, right? We print all these one more sleep t-shirts, Brazil and Australia, New Zealand and Ireland. And somebody said to me on social media like 6 weeks ago, like, hey, dick fuck, are you American? Like, are you from the United States? Like, maybe do a one more sleep USA shirt. So here it is, also available.
Ray Longo got to you, I think.
He did. JohnAnik.com for all of your merchandise needs, but that is neither here nor there. Today, it's about the Anik and Florian Rewind. And as you know, as we get ready for these big UFC live events, Ken Flo and I are here. We look back on major fights involving the headlining athletes as the countdown continues to the UFC's first trip to Saudi Arabia. We highlight future UFC Hall of Famer Robert Whittaker, and we look back. Remarkable UFC career. I mean, you and I were on the Gold Coast in Australia in 2012 when he made his UFC debut, 21 fights later. But it has been a stretch of 10 fights dating to the last stoppage win for Robert Whittaker. Last 7 wins have all been by decision. Some of those epic title fights against Yoel Romero, but I thought today, Ken Flo, I would make the directorial decision to look back at his last finish, 2017, against the great Jacare Souza.
Yeah, I love it, man. And I love this fight. I remember being so excited when this fight was announced. And yeah, I mean, it's a tough thing, right? I mean, he has fought a lot of high-level competition. And the higher you go, right, the more elite competition you face, the harder it is to get that finish.
All right, so 2017, this is one of Robert Whittaker's signature wins en route to the title. Kansas City, Missouri. It was a featured bout on Fox, so 3 rounds. And always interesting to compare past and present film, to be sure. Wait till you see how young these athletes look here. But Brian Stan and I called this fight on Fox, and a big part of his film study would be rooted in watching like a UFC debut or a really early UFC fight for an athlete, and then seeing the type of evolution. So let us roll the tape. At this point, Robert Whittaker had won 6 fights in a row, 5 straight at middleweight since moving up. Look at the old Fox graphics there. Robert Whittaker, 26 years of age. He has 1.5 inches in reach over the 37-year-old Jacare Souza. And this was essentially a time for Jacare when he was riding high, back-to-back finishes and bonus winning efforts against Vitor Belfort and Tim Bosch. And Whittaker, definitely in a title eliminator here, given the aforementioned winning streak. Yeah, this was a fun fight, Kenny. You know, I remember thinking about this card and how this fight was not even the co-main event, and just speaking to the depth and just how good things were at this point in time in 2017 in the UFC.
Yeah, no question. And Jacare Souza was one of the more intimidating figures in the UFC at the time. Had one of the best BJJ pedigrees to ever walk inside that octagon. World champion in the gi, world champion no gi. Just a big, intimidating dude who also had knockout power.
So at this point in time, I wonder if Robert Whittaker had 8 or 9 children. I think it was 9. No, at this point in time, I think maybe he had 2. Now he can lay claim to 5. Whittaker, nice stick and move with the jab. Yeah, I mean, every fighter meeting, it's like, hey, I know it's none of my business, but are we done yet? Or?
He'll be fighting until like 2045. It's fine. He'll be good. Whittaker very light on his feet, bouncy with that kind of classic style. Very well known for his striking, very fluid, very fast. But the shot to really watch for is that left hook, one of the best left hooks in the game. But just very evasive in general, doing a great job of sticking and moving, not allowing Jacare to kind of plant his feet and shoot.
Old friend Mario Yamasaki gracing the octagon as the referee. I mean, could Buff drag his name out any longer with the Yamasaki? Oh, we fucking get it. Sorry.
The 10-second hold is impressive, though, John. You got to admit.
Jacare in the black trunks closing the distance here.
Yeah, Whittaker doing a good job with that jab. Just trying to get Jacare uncomfortable out there, trying to get him to swing and miss. Doing a good job of getting that underhook, has good head position there. Obviously wants to avoid being on his back against someone like Jacare Souza.
Robert Whittaker realized icon status in his late 20s, I think, in Australia. And the way he has carried himself since, and with some of the career resurgences and everything else and some of the tribulations, that dude's iconic status is next level in Australia. Nice scramble here. Don't want to dick around too much with the alligator down there.
Yeah, doing a great job. That having that gift wrapped on that wrist of Jacare saved him, allowed him to kind of roll with him and get back to his feet. And, you know, in Australia, they're just such rabid MMA fans. So if you have a guy who's representing and fighting at a high level and doing so for a long time, I mean, you're going to have a huge fan base for a very long time. Whittaker doing a great job of getting Jacare off of his back, scrambling back to his feet again, getting good head position to avoid that reshot from Jacare Souza.
Electric little sequence there. Back to the center of the octagon here late in round one. Jacare 1 for 2 on his takedowns thus far. And you wonder, just in terms of the Australian stuff for Steve Erceg, like just how far is this dude going to be able to take it with an entire nation like that behind it, right? Like Steve Erceg probably can't walk down the street nearly as incognito mode as he used to be able to. That old Fox clock kind of messes with our Anik and Florian rewind here, Ken Flo. ESPN throws it in the center of the screen. I guess it's probably an in-house decision.
That was a nice little counter shot from Whittaker there. And you see Whittaker kind of just lowering his level just a little bit to meet that level change potentially of Jacare Souza. That's putting him in good position to get that underhook. And you see him really starting to unleash a little bit more variety with the strikes as well.
And I mentioned that Whittaker looks young. He still looks young, though, here 7 years later in 2024 at 33 years of age as he gets ready to fight Khamzat Chimaev in the main event. June 22nd on ABC. Today we're looking back at Whittaker's last finish, of course, against Jacare Souza in 2017. Again, Jacare loading up on the right hand out of range. That was a pretty good one.
Yeah.
So it appeared.
Looked like he may have landed with that right hand. Whittaker able to avoid most of the power, though. Jacare was such a force, man. Had so many great physical attributes, even at 36, 37 years old.
Feels like Whittaker has gotten even more voluminous as he landed a right hand there with his striking later in his career. Picking his shots pretty well here against Jacare as he attacks the body. Counter shot from Souza, and Whittaker lands again with a right hand.
Yeah, and Jacare's hands are starting to drop a little bit because of those body kicks, and I think he's getting tired. Those shots will take the wind out of you. Nice left hook there from Whittaker. Beautiful jab, that nice little flick jab to keep Jacare on the outside.
And you know when Bobby gets wide-eyed, liking what the vision is telling him, round one in the can.